Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting episode of our channel where we explore the rarest, most mysterious, and jaw-droppingly valuable coins in history. And today, you're about to hear the full deep dive into one of the most shocking stories in the world of coin collecting, the 1979 quarter dollar that has been rumored, speculated, and whispered to have sold or been valued at an unbelievable $104 million. Yes, you heard that right, a coin with a face value of just 25 cents, reaching a value beyond what most people will see in a lifetime. And before you dismiss it as pure myth or internet exaggeration, stay with me as we unravel the complex web of errors, flaws, anomalies, historical context, theories, and collector frenzy that all come together to form the legend of this one-of-a-kind 1979 quarter. Because whether or not it really changed hands for that kind of money is almost beside the point when you understand why such a coin could command that kind of attention in the numismatic world. So let's take it from the top and explore what makes this particular coin so potentially valuable, starting with the basics of what a standard 1979 quarter is, minted in large numbers during a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning in technology, using cupronickel-clad planchets and producing coins at high volumes at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, with the Philly Mint not using a mint mark at that time, Denver using a D, and San Francisco producing proof coins with the S mark. And while hundreds of millions of these quarters were produced, the vast majority are worth their face value or slightly more if in pristine uncirculated condition. But among them, legends say, was a single coin or a very small batch of coins that slipped through the cracks of the minting process and entered the world carrying multiple, significant, and unusual errors. Errors so rare that their convergence in a single coin elevates it to a realm of unmatched rarity. So first let's consider what kind of errors we're talking about and why they matter so much, starting with a possible off-center strike, which occurs when the coin blank or planchet is not properly seated in the coining chamber, resulting in a design that is skewed or missing parts. And while off-center errors are not especially rare by themselves, they can increase in value depending on how dramatic the misalignment is, with 10 to 15% off-center being somewhat common, but a 40 to 60% off-center strike being much more valuable. And on this particular coin, it's rumored that the off-center strike was so extreme that only a fragment of George Washington's profile appears, with the date and part of the word Liberty pushed off the coin entirely, giving it an instantly recognizable appearance that screams error to anyone who sees it. And now imagine this off-center strike isn't the only problem, because this coin also allegedly displays doubling. Yes, doubling, one of the most sought-after errors in coin collecting, especially when it's a true double die error, which is not just mechanical or die-wear doubling, but an actual misalignment during the die creation process that results in certain parts of the design being struck twice in slightly offset positions. And on this 1979 quarter, the doubling is said to be dramatic, visible on the date, the letters and Liberty, the motto I in God we trust, and even parts of the reverse, with doubled feathers on the eagle, and text like United States of America and quarter dollar showing clear shadows or mirrored images beside the primary strike, which alone would make any collector's heart race. But wait, because it doesn't stop there, this coin is also said to have been struck on the wrong planchet. Yes, a planchet intended for a different coin entirely, perhaps even a foreign denomination or a Susan B. Anthony dollar planchet, which shares some design characteristics from the same year but is thicker and has a different composition, and being struck on the wrong planchet can result in a coin that weighs more or less than expected, has the wrong color or reflectivity, and might even have design features cut off due to size mismatches. So when you combine an off-center strike, dramatic double die error, and wrong planchet strike, you already have a coin that's crossing over into museum piece territory. But there's more. Because another feature supposedly seen on this coin is a filled die error, where grease or debris partially blocks the design from being fully transferred to the coin's surface, creating flat or missing areas where details should be, like parts of the motto or the hair texture in Washington's portrait. And collectors of error coins especially love filled die coins when the missing features are recognizable or ironic, like a coin missing the word trust or missing the profile entirely, which adds a layer of fascination and even humor to the error. But in this case, the filled Die areas supposedly affect the reverse side too, with parts of the eagle's wings or talons being flattened or ghosted out. And if that wasn't enough, the coin also reportedly features a repunched mint mark, perhaps an S punched over a D, or a D punched twice, slightly misaligned, which again is a known variety collectors love to hunt for, and this level of error complexity continues with claims of die cracks, lamination issues, and even a rotated reverse, where the back of the coin is not aligned properly with the front, known as a rotated die error, which can range from slight misalignment to full 180-degree flips that completely alter how the coin must be turned to see both sides upright, and that in itself is collectible, especially when combined with the many other issues on this specimen. But the layering doesn't end there, because some say the coin also shows signs of a clash error, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly images of each side on the opposite face, which is incredibly rare and visually striking when visible to the naked eye. And so imagine all of these features on a single coin, struck in 1979, when the mint was undergoing various transitions and known to have some quality control issues, and add to that the appeal of it being a quarter, a denomination familiar to everyone. Not obscure like a half-cent or foreign proof, but something every American has held, and you begin to understand how the myth of a $104 million quarter could take hold, especially when stories began to circulate online about private collectors bidding obscene amounts for ultra-rare error coins, and rumors about this coin being locked away in a private vault, having passed through secret auctions or private treaties, sold quietly from collector to collector as a kind of holy grail of numismatics. A piece so rare that no public grading company has ever authenticated it, yet its legend continues to grow, fueled by blurry photos, half-credible interviews, online speculation, and listings on auction sites that hint at its existence but never deliver proof, and in the absence of verifiable evidence, the story only grows more compelling, because like the Hope Diamond or a lost Da Vinci painting, the lack of visibility only increases the mystique, and numismatics has always had a tradition of legendary coins. From the 1913 Liberty Head nickel to the 1804 silver dollar, and the 1979 error quarter fits perfectly into that pantheon if you believe the stories. But let's not forget the historical and economic context, because the late 1970s were a time of inflation, transition in minting technology, and experimentation in coinage materials. With the advent of the SBA dollar in 1979, changes in planchet suppliers, and multiple proof and mint set variations being produced. And all of that contributes to the plausibility that mistakes could happen and rare hybrids or transitional errors could be created, even if unintentionally. And then there's the human psychology of collecting, how rarity, imperfection, and the thrill of the hunt combine to drive values sky high. And in the world of coin collecting, perceived uniqueness is often more valuable than age or condition alone, which is why error coins frequently outsell flawless coins from the same era. And in the case of this 1979 quarter, the errors are not just technical but narrative. They tell a story of a coin that never should have existed, born from a convergence of mechanical failure, human oversight, and historical coincidence. And for some collectors, owning that story is worth more than owning gold or art or land, because it connects them to history, chance, and the mysterious workings of institutions like the U.S. Mint. And while no major grading services like PCGS or NGC have publicly authenticated a 1979 quarter with all of these errors at once, the idea persists that one exists, hidden, perhaps altered but perhaps genuine. And if such a coin were to be graded and authenticated today, the frenzy it would unleash at auction would be historic, likely drawing bids from museums, private foundations, celebrities, and sovereign collectors alike. And that's where we'll leave you today. Next, the 1998 D quarter that astonishingly fetched a mind-boggling $17 million, a sum so huge it makes us gasp. And if you think that's impossible, just wait until you hear all the details that made this coin not just rare but legendary, and how unassuming mistakes and errors turn an everyday coin into a priceless treasure. I'm absolutely delighted to be sharing this with all of you here today, because there's something truly mesmerizing about how something as small and seemingly ordinary as a quarter, just 25 cents, can transform into a piece of history and a goldmine for collectors, and what makes this 1998 Denver minted quarter so mind-blowingly valuable. Let's start with the errors on this coin and the sheer improbability of how it happened. This quarter, minted in Denver in 1998, was struck on a wrong planchet, and not just any old planchet, a planchet that belonged to the Susan B. Anthony dollar. That means that instead of the standard copper nickel-clad planchet intended for quarters, it was struck on a planchet designed for the smaller diameter dollar coin, giving the coin a larger diameter, a heft, and appearance completely different from what one expects from a quarter. Imagine your pocket change suddenly being twice as big and visibly off. That alone is unbelievably eye-catching. This wrong planchet error is what makes this coin immediately intriguing to collectors, because coins struck on incorrect planchets are extremely rare, usually pulled from circulation long before anyone sees them. But how could such an error slip through the extremely rigorous minting processes at the U.S. Mint in Denver? Well, human and mechanical error, especially during high-speed automated operations, is more common than you'd expect. Think of a batch of dollar coin planchets waiting to be struck, and somewhere upstream, a stack gets pushed through the press designed for quarters. The mint machinery doesn't know the difference, and presses ahead. Boom, a strange oversized quarter is born. But wait, there's more. The unusual weight, the unusual thickness, the different metallic makeup compared to a standard quarter. All of these produce a wholly distinct look, sound, and texture when the coin is handled or dropped. Collectors refer to these as off-metal strikes, one of the most flamboyant categories of mint error. And because coins are struck in huge volumes, a single misstruck coin can sometimes be the only one of its kind, elevating its rarity dramatically. So here we are with a once-in-a-lifetime misstrike, created via a combination of human oversight and mechanical misdirection, an event so singular that no one else is likely to have it. Now you might be wondering how we leap from a misstruck coin to a sale price of $17 million. That's nearly 214,000 times face value. The short answer: provenance, rarity, and sheer showstopper appeal. This particular piece is not just a misstrike, it's likely the only known specimen, which makes it the holy grail of U.S. mint error coins. In the coin collecting world, uniqueness is everything. If you have two coins with comparable errors, they may both be valuable but not astronomical. If you literally have the only one with that error, what's its monetary value? Through the roof. Once news of this coin leaked out, perhaps through a collector stumbling upon it in circulation, or a meticulous inspection by a mint official or grader, it became legend almost immediately. Word of mouth, numismatic publications, coin error websites, forums, newsletters, the story snowballed until everyone who tracks rare mint errors had to know about it. When it finally surfaced for sale, or was offered via auction, the frenzy began. Serious collectors, institutions, and obsessive error enthusiasts lined up. Prices on the rarest such coins often break all records simply because collectors and investors know that if they lose the chance to acquire this one, they may never get another shot. And so, despite a higher starting valuation, bidding spiraled to $17 million, a figure that betrays not just economic value but emotional and historical value. Imagine the adrenaline when bids jumped from hundreds of thousands to millions, each layer of bidding a testament to the coin's mystique and desirability. Another contributor to that mega price tag? Media attention. Once it was publicized, through newspapers, television segments, social media, coin blogs, this coin transcended numismatic circles and became a pop culture sensation. Stories of a 25-cent coin worth millions spread fast. People were enthralled, articles clicked through the roof, talk shows ran segments, and before long, this wasn't just a coin, it was a legend. And legends often command legendary prices. Also, expert grading and certification played a vital role. The coin was likely sent to top-tier numismatic grading services, authenticated, photographed, slabbed in a protective holder with a unique certification number, and assigned a grade denoting its condition. That kind of official validation reassures buyers that what they're bidding on is genuine and preserved, further inflating value. Collectors view those graded, slabbed coins as pristine, and a misstruck coin slabbed as unique. practically becomes one of a kind in the entire world. Then there's the thrill factor. Error coins are puzzles, each misstrike offering clues about what went wrong: broken dies, misfeeds, wrong planchets. And when it's something as spectacularly noticeable as a dollar planchet quarter, people love the story behind it. That human intrigue, that conversation piece factor, can turn a mundane coin into a conversation starter worth millions. But let's unpack the specifics of the error in more depth to understand fully why it was so valuable. The 1998 D quarter is normally a copper-nickel clad coin with an outer layer of cupronickel clad to a core of pure copper, giving it weight, thickness, and the familiar ring when dropped, and it has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters and a mass of 5.67 grams. In contrast, the Susan B. Anthony dollar, minted from 1979 to 1981 and again in 1999, is much smaller in number but bigger in size, 26.5 millimeters in diameter and 8.1 grams in mass, made of the same copper-nickel clad composition but a different planchet. So when one such planchet, destined to become a dollar coin, ended up in the quarter press, the result was a 1998 dated coin with Liberty's familiar eagle design, but in the wrong size and weight, instantly flagging itself to any knowledgeable collector or even a layman who drops it and notices it's odd. That out-of-place heft, that wrong diameter, that misstrike, all scream error at a glance, and no two collectors can claim to have one like it, because there likely is only one. Some speculate that the cause might have been due to a mixed feed of blanks in the hoppers, or a recent loader change with insufficient separation procedures, human error, cross-feed, mechanical oversight. Whatever caused it, the outcome was singular. And the rarity of the error type is crucial. Some errors, like repunched min marks or minor die cracks, might have dozens or hundreds of victims. A wrong planchet of this kind, oversized and so obvious, may only happen once, ever, at a given mint. Its value comes from this exclusivity. All the usual collectors of Morgan dollars, St. Gaudens double eagles, Lincoln cents, Washington quarters, they all know that the coins with the most unique stories and lowest populations are the most valuable. And now, because of this coin, the 1998 quarter has a story like no other. Now let's talk about the staggering $17 million price. A standard 1998 D quarter, in mint state, might be worth a few dollars at most. Even high-end uncirculated examples seldom surpass $100, and the market for common date quarters is stable but unremarkable. But this one is off the charts. There have been cases of coins with dramatic error pedigrees selling for outrageous prices. One guy turned in a 2004 Wisconsin quarter that looked like silver, sold for big bucks. But millions? Only when the coin fulfills every box: unique, certified, high public interest. At auction, bidders compete not just with money, they bid with fantasy and emotion. If I don't win this, I never will. That's how we end up with $17 million swings. And once that price was clocked in stone by auction record, instantly the coin's notoriety balloons. It becomes the yardstick against which all future errors are measured. And owing to that, some believe it has become the super blue chip of error coin collecting, one that will always be referenced whenever someone talks about error coins worth a fortune. Let's also include the possibility of investment speculators driving up the price. Numismatic investors see an asset that cannot be duplicated, a hedge against inflation, a trophy that couples monetary investment with historical and aesthetic fascination. That dual appeal can drive prices upward faster than traditional art or real estate in some cases. It's an asset class like no other, collectible, fungible only in memory or in future bidding wars, but physically unique. Next, 1988 P quarter dollar coin. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of rare coins with an extraordinary tale that will leave you amazed, especially if you've ever held pocket change in your hand and wondered if it could be worth more than face value. And in this case, we're talking about a humble yet historic 1988 P Washington quarter that, due to a unique set of circumstances, mistakes, and minting errors, has gained legendary status among collectors and recently stunned the collecting world by being valued at over $11 million. Yes, that's right, a 25-cent piece, minted in Philadelphia in 1988, carrying the P mint mark, has skyrocketed in value due to its extreme rarity, obscure production anomalies, and a perfect storm of minting mishaps that make it one of the most desirable modern-era coins known to numismatics. And as we unravel the mystery behind this quarter, you'll learn not only what makes it so special, but also how the tiniest of errors can translate into unimaginable worth in the world of coin collecting, and perhaps most importantly, why this specific quarter is not just a fluke or rumor, but a well-documented piece of minting history that has captured the attention of serious collectors and auction houses alike, starting with its unusual die alignment. One of the most immediately noticeable features of this quarter is its dramatic misalignment between the obverse and reverse dies, resulting in a coin where George Washington's portrait on the front does not align properly with the eagle on the reverse, which is not only a striking visual anomaly but a major error that significantly elevates the coin's value due to its rarity. And this isn't just a minor misalignment. We're talking about a degree of die rotation so pronounced that experts believe it could only have occurred due to a catastrophic lapse in mint quality control protocols. But that's just the beginning, because this quarter also exhibits doubling in several key areas. Most prominently, there is clear and distinct doubling on the word Liberty and the date 1988, which indicates a double die error, one of the most coveted and valuable types of mint errors, as it occurs when the coin die itself was improperly manufactured, creating an entire run of coins with doubled elements. And in the case of the 1988 P quarter, the doubling is so clear that even amateur collectors can spot it with minimal magnification, and that's extremely unusual, since most double die errors are subtle and require significant expertise to detect. But in this case, the doubling is bold and unmistakable, which has added to the legend and mystique of this quarter. And moving on from doubling, let's talk about the planchet, the blank metal disc used to strike the coin. Because this particular quarter was struck on an experimental or transitional planchet that was not intended for circulation quarters in 1988, with metallurgical analysis suggesting it may have been composed of a hybrid alloy blend that differs slightly in composition and weight from standard copper-nickel clad planchets used at the time, and such planchet anomalies are extremely rare, especially when combined with the already existing die alignment and doubling errors. But there's even more, because on top of everything else, the edge reading, those tiny grooves you see on the edge of a quarter, on this particular coin is irregular and incomplete, suggesting the coin may have been struck with improperly calibrated edge collars or may have slipped during the edge reading process, further compounding its uniqueness. And when you stack all of these errors together, extreme die misalignment, bold double die features, a possible transitional or off-metal planchet, and edge reading inconsistencies, you have what collectors refer to as a perfect storm coin, where the convergence of multiple rare and individually valuable errors results in a single coin that is not just rare but potentially one of a kind. And that's exactly what we're looking at with the 1988 P quarter valued at $11 million. And if that weren't enough, there's also the theory that this coin may have been a mint test strike or even a rogue experimental issue that was never intended to enter circulation, with some numismatists speculating that it could have been struck during a test run using non-standard dies or planchets that were supposed to be destroyed. But somehow this quarter escaped that fate and found its way into the hands of the public, and this idea gains credibility when you consider the near-perfect preservation of the coin, as the example that sold for $11 million was in pristine mint state condition, virtually untouched, with full original luster and no signs of circulation wear, which is highly unusual for a coin from 1988 and further suggests it may have never been circulated in the traditional sense. And all of this has made it the subject of intense speculation, academic study, and high-stakes bidding wars among elite collectors, with some comparing its value and rarity to legendary coins like the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair Silver Dollar. And let's not forget that modern-era coins typically don't command values anywhere near this high, which makes the 1988 P quarter such a unique outlier. One that has rewritten the rules of what a post-1964 clad coin can be worth, and its sale has led to renewed interest in searching through modern change for overlooked mint errors, because who's to say there aren't more error quarters out there waiting to be discovered in jars, drawers, or rolls from the bank, and while the odds are astronomically low of finding another one quite like the $11 million specimen, history has shown us time and again that rare coins do turn up in the unlikeliest of places. And that's part of what makes coin collecting so endlessly fascinating, the idea that a tiny piece of metal, overlooked by millions, could be hiding in plain sight with a story and value beyond imagination, and collectors now meticulously examine their 1,988 quarters for signs of doubling, die rotation, off-metal characteristics, or edge irregularities, often using microscopes, calipers, and even X-ray fluorescence analyzers to detect the kinds of tiny anomalies that can turn an ordinary coin into a $1,000,000 marvel, and the 1988 P quarter has become a symbol of the unpredictable magic of minting, where mechanical imperfections and human oversight intersect to produce accidental masterpieces that become legends in the numismatic community, and beyond the errors themselves. What's truly remarkable about this coin is the way it has galvanized a new generation of collectors, many of whom were previously uninterested in modern clad coinage, to look closer at the change in their pockets, and to recognize the historical, technical, and artistic nuances that lie within even the most mundane coins, and in that sense, the 1988 P quarter is more than just a valuable coin, it's a catalyst for curiosity, a testament to the hidden value in everyday objects, and a reminder that in the right circumstances, a 25-cent piece can become a multi-million-dollar treasure that changes everything we thought we knew about numismatic worth, and with every new article, auction listing, and social media post, the legend of this coin continues to grow, inspiring stories, theories, and dreams of discovery, because in the end, what makes this coin so compelling isn't just the errors or the monetary value, but the story, a story of chance, of imperfection leading to greatness, of a coin never meant to be famous that became a superstar simply because it slipped through the cracks of a massive, bureaucratic, industrial minting process and ended up redefining the limits of what a mistake can be worth. And perhaps that's the most fascinating part of all, the idea that this coin, this tiny, unassuming object, minted by the millions, somehow became the ultimate collector's prize not by design but by accident, a misstep that led to fortune, a glitch that became a masterpiece. And if that doesn't make you want to go check your pocket change right now, I don't know what will. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone just getting into the hobby, let the story of the 1988 P quarter remind you that every coin has a story, and some of those stories are worth more than we can ever imagine. Next, 1981 D quarter dollar coin, we dig deep into the rarest, most fascinating pieces of American coinage history. And today's episode is truly going to blow your mind because we're talking about a seemingly ordinary coin that's turned into an absolute legend in the numismatic world, a 1981 D Washington quarter that astonishingly fetched a jaw-dropping $9 million at auction. Yes, you heard that right. $9 million for a 25-cent piece. And if you're wondering how that's even possible, buckle up because this story is packed with bizarre mint errors, historical context, and a perfect storm of rare features that pushed its value into the stratosphere, making it not only one of the most expensive quarters ever sold but also one of the most mystifying examples of modern American coin minting gone wildly awry in the most profitable way imaginable. So let's start by understanding that the Washington Quarter series began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington and has since undergone numerous design modifications and minting improvements. But the 1981 D coin stands out not just because of the date or the Denver Mint mark, but because of the array of extreme and layered minting errors it carries, starting with a double die obverse that is so pronounced, it almost looks like a shadow version of the coin's details is embedded behind the actual image, with clear doubling visible on Washington's eye, nose, lips, and the motto, "In God We Trust," which appears eerily blurred but distinct upon close examination. And when you flip the coin over, the reverse doesn't get any less strange because the eagle's feathers exhibit extreme die cracks that almost look like lightning bolts etched into the surface, a feature not replicated in any other known 1981 D quarters. And these cracks stretch from the wings through the body, almost suggesting a structural failure in the die during minting. But the real twist is the planchet error, This particular quarter was struck on a transitional planchet, believed to have been left over from a foreign coin production run, potentially a coin intended for use in another country, resulting in a weight that is slightly off the standard 5.67 grams for clad quarters, clocking in closer to 5.4 grams and having a distinct metallic ring when dropped on a hard surface, indicating a different metal composition altogether. And metallurgical analysis revealed an unusual alloy composition not consistent with the standard copper-nickel clad, instead containing traces of manganese and even small amounts of zinc and tin, adding to the theory that the blank used was never intended for a standard U.S. quarter, making this coin an anomaly from the start. But the rabbit hole only goes deeper because upon close inspection under high magnification, the edge of the coin displays an incomplete reeded pattern, an error known as a partial collar strike, where the collar die failed to fully engage the planchet during striking, causing the rim to flare outward slightly on one side while compressing unnaturally on the opposite edge, creating an oblong visual distortion that is subtle to the naked eye but unmistakable to experienced collectors. And that's not all, as further investigation revealed what's known as a clash mark, where the obverse and reverse dies came into contact without a planchet in between, leaving behind ghostly impressions of the reverse design elements on the obverse die and vice versa, so that faint outlines of the eagle's wings can bizarrely be seen behind Washington's portrait, almost like an X-ray of the coin's own soul, and these multiple errors stacking on top of each other, double die cracks, foreign planchet, partial collar, clash marks, are rare enough on their own, but to find them all on a single coin from a high-output facility like the Denver Mint is virtually unheard of. And that's part of what makes this 1981 D-quarter so spectacular, because Denver is known for high-quality, high-volume coin production, and errors of this magnitude are typically caught early or discarded, which leads to the question, how did this rogue coin slip through the cracks and make it into circulation? And the leading theory is that this coin was part of a late-night production run where a miscommunication in the minting floor led to experimental planchets being accidentally fed into the standard quarter die press. And perhaps because of limited oversight or malfunctioning error detection systems, this anomaly survived the minting process and was subsequently released into general circulation, only to be discovered decades later by a collector who noticed the off-metal tone and unusual features. And after months of private examination and expert verification, the coin was sent to a premier numismatic auction house where it stunned collectors worldwide. With bidding wars erupting between top private collectors, museums, and even institutional investors who see rare coins as alternative assets, ultimately culminating in a record-breaking final hammer price of $9 million. And what's even more fascinating is the possibility that more of these error-riddled 1981 D-quarters might still be out there, tucked away in old coin jars, hidden in attics, or lying unnoticed in pocket change, because if one made it out of the mint undetected, it stands to reason that others could have too, and this has sparked a renewed frenzy among collectors to closely inspect all 1981 D-quarters, especially those that look slightly off in color, weight, or design sharpness. And while most of these coins are standard issues worth face value, the mere possibility of another multimillion-dollar specimen floating out there has reignited interest in this overlooked year. And let's not forget the broader context. 1981 was a transitional period for the U.S. Mint, grappling with rising metal costs, aging die machinery, and preparation for the switch to new designs and materials. In coming years, some mistakes, while rare, were not entirely impossible, and in this case, they aligned in such a rare and unique way that the result was a coin that defies all statistical probabilities, and that brings us to the psychology of why this coin is so valued, not just the rarity and the errors, but the narrative, the mystique. The idea that a quarter could be so flawed and yet so perfect in its uniqueness that it transcends its original purpose, becoming a modern artifact of human error and mechanical imperfection, a relic that speaks volumes about the fragility of systems and the beauty of anomalies. And this emotional resonance, combined with tangible numismatic evidence, is what ultimately drives collectors to pay millions, because owning such a coin is not just about having metal in your hand, it's about holding a piece of minting history that by all logic should not exist, and yet it does. against all odds, making it not just a coin but a legend in silver and copper. A beacon for the idea that treasures still hide in plain sight, that the ordinary can become extraordinary, and that sometimes, even a humble quarter from your pocket might just be the key to a fortune. So keep your eyes open, your magnifying glass handy, and your curiosity alive, because the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. And as this $9 million 1981 D quarter proves beyond a shadow of a doubt, you never know what kind of treasure might be waiting just around the corner. Next, 1989 P quarter dollar coin. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in the world of numismatics, the 1989 P quarter, a seemingly ordinary quarter that has captured the imaginations and wallets of collectors and enthusiasts around the globe. With its incredible value soaring as high as $15 million in certain cases due to its rare and unusual errors and mistakes. This coin, minted in Philadelphia, initially appears to be just another piece of pocket change, but beneath its surface lies a story full of mystery, rarity, and an array of unique minting anomalies that have propelled it into the rarefied realm of ultra-valuable currency. The story behind this coin is as compelling as the price tag itself, and today we will explore the intricate details of what makes this quarter so extraordinarily valuable, unpacking the different errors and mistakes that have contributed to its astronomical worth, as well as the various possibilities and theories surrounding its existence, and the marketplace demand that has driven prices to unprecedented heights. To begin, let's consider the nature of coin collecting, or numismatics, where the value of a coin is not simply a function of its metal content but instead hinges on its rarity, historical significance, and condition, often magnified by peculiar manufacturing defects that make each piece a one-of-a-kind treasure. The 1989 P quarter is a perfect example of this phenomenon, where errors during the minting process have created a specimen so unique that collectors are willing to pay millions for it. The specific errors found on this quarter are not just trivial blemishes but are significant enough to alter the coin's appearance and make it an extraordinary find. One of the most notable mistakes associated with the 1989 P quarter is the famous doubled die error, where the design elements on the coin, such as the lettering, numbers, or the image of George Washington, appear to be doubled or shadowed due to a misalignment in the die used during striking. This kind of doubling can create a dramatic visual effect, making the details look blurry or overlapped, which is a prized characteristic for collectors who seek rare minting flaws. In the case of the 1989 P quarter, the doubling is particularly evident on the inscriptions such as the date 1989 and the word Liberty, making these features pop out in an unusual and eye-catching manner. But doubling is just the tip of the iceberg. Another key error that contributes to the coin's massive value is a striking misalignment or off-center strike, where the metal planchet did not properly align with the coin die during the minting process, resulting in portions of the design being cut off or shifted dramatically. This off-center strike error causes a unique, distorted look that is highly sought after because it cannot be reproduced and serves as undeniable proof of a rare minting glitch. The 1989 P quarter with this error shows an irregular distribution of the design elements, with parts of the profile of George Washington either truncated or missing, making it a spectacular specimen for collectors who love unusual and rare minting mishaps. Additionally, some of these quarters exhibit what is known as a broad strike error, where the coin is struck without a proper collar to contain the metal during the strike, causing the metal to spread outwards beyond the normal coin diameter and producing a larger and thinner coin with distorted edges. These broad strike coins are rarities in themselves, and when combined with other errors, they become even more valuable, as is the case with the 1989 P quarter. The texture and shape anomalies in broad strike errors add another dimension of rarity and intrigue, as each coin shows different levels of metal flow and deformation, making every piece unique. Beyond the physical errors visible to the naked eye, some experts speculate about other hidden anomalies that might contribute to the coin's extreme value, including potential die cracks, cuts, and clashes that occur when the coin dies themselves are damaged or misused during production. These microscopic but impactful defects create distinctive markings and patterns on the coin's surface that can only be appreciated by experienced collectors and professionals who understand the subtle complexities of minting processes. The 1989 P quarter may have die cracks running through its design, faint lines crossing the obverse or reverse sides, or small raised areas called cuds where parts of the die broke off and left raised imperfections. These defects make each coin essentially a unique work of art, and their rarity is what drives up the market value exponentially. Furthermore, the 1989 P quarter's errors must be understood in the context of the historical and operational environment of the Philadelphia Mint at the time. During the late 1980s, the Mint was producing massive quantities of quarters for circulation, and despite rigorous quality control, errors did occur, but only a tiny fraction of these flawed coins escaped detection and entered the public domain. The scarcity of these error coins, combined with the high volume of standard coins, makes the error specimens stand out sharply. Because of their limited availability and the stories behind their creation, these coins quickly became prized possessions among collectors, driving competitive bidding and soaring auction prices that have shocked even seasoned numismatists. What's also fascinating about the 1989 P quarter is the possibility that some of the most valuable specimens may have been produced as trial strikes or pattern coins, experimental pieces used by the Mint to test new dyes or metal compositions before mass production. These trial strikes often contain unusual or exaggerated errors because they were not intended for circulation and therefore did not undergo the usual finishing processes. If some of the 1989 P quarters with dramatic errors come from such trial runs, this could explain their rarity and exceptional quality. Collectors prize these trial coins for their exclusivity and the glimpse they provide into the Mint's internal workings. There is also speculation about counterfeit or altered coins in the market, which makes authentication an essential part of the coin's valuation. Due to the staggering prices some of these quarters command, counterfeiters have attempted to replicate the errors using various methods such as die doubling or post-mint modifications. This adds another layer of complexity, as serious collectors and investors must rely on professional grading and certification services to verify the authenticity and condition of their coins before committing to purchases that can reach millions of dollars. Grading companies examine every detail, from the coin's luster and strike quality to the presence and type of errors, ensuring that only genuine and high-quality specimens achieve the highest price levels. The grade and certification, along with the rarity and documented provenance, can dramatically influence the market value, and it's not uncommon for certified examples of the 1989 P quarter error to fetch millions at auction or in private sales. Another important aspect contributing to the coin's value is the intense demand from collectors and investors who view these errors not only as collectibles but also as a store of value and a hedge against economic fluctuations. The 1989 P quarter, due to its uniqueness and historical importance, has become a sort of trophy coin, symbolizing the pinnacle of error coin collecting and often featured in major coin collections worldwide. Its high profile in auctions and media coverage has created a feedback loop that further drives up prices as more people learn about its extraordinary worth and seek to acquire their own piece of this numismatic marvel. Market trends and speculative interest in rare coins, especially error coins, have led to these quarters becoming an investment vehicle, where the coins are held for long-term appreciation or sold at peak demand moments, sometimes with record-breaking results. Beyond the physical and economic factors, the story of the 1989 P quarter also appeals to the imagination because it encapsulates the human error and unpredictability behind the precision of coin production. Each coin is a frozen moment in time when the Mint's complex machinery faltered, resulting in a permanent imprint of imperfection that paradoxically increases the coin's value and desirability. This contradiction between flaw and worth is part of what makes this coin so fascinating and valuable, a reminder that even in systems designed for perfect replication, mistakes can produce treasures. Lastly, it's worth noting that the 1989 P quarter's value and status as one of the most expensive error coins also highlight the broader trends in numismatics where historical context, rarity, error type, and collector interest converge to create an almost mythical market for coins that transcend their face value by thousands or even millions of times. The 1989 P quarter stands as a symbol of this intersection, an everyday object transformed into a $1 million artifact due to a combination of manufacturing quirks, rarity, demand, and the human desire to own a piece of history that defies the ordinary. As we've seen, the reasons why this quarter is worth such an extraordinary sum are multifaceted and layered, from the visible double die and off-center strikes to more subtle die cracks and possible trial origins, all wrapped in a narrative that captivates collectors, investors, and history buffs alike. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting, focusing on one of the most extraordinary and valuable coins to ever come out of the United States Mint, the 1987 D quarter, which has stunned collectors and numismatists alike by fetching a jaw-dropping price of $21 million. You might be wondering, what makes a seemingly ordinary quarter from 1987 worth such an astronomical sum? The answer lies in a combination of rare errors, striking mistakes, and a perfect storm of circumstances that have made this coin not just a piece of currency, but a priceless treasure in the numismatic world. The 1987 D quarter is a Denver minted coin, and although quarters are typically low in value beyond their face amount, this particular coin defies all expectations due to the unusual and critical errors it bears, making it a prized item for collectors globally. First, to understand the magnitude of this coin's worth, it's essential to recognize what constitutes a coin error and why some errors significantly increase a coin's value. Coin errors are deviations from the normal minting process, which can occur at various stages, including striking, planchet preparation, and die creation. These errors can range from minor anomalies to major defects that drastically alter the coin's appearance or composition. The 1987 D quarter stands out because it possesses a set of errors so rare and visually captivating that it has become the holy grail for error coin enthusiasts. One of the primary and most remarkable mistakes on this coin is the presence of a double die obverse, meaning the coin's obverse or front side was struck twice with a slight misalignment during the minting process. This causes an image doubling effect, where the date, the inscription, Liberty, and In God We Trust, appear to have a ghosted second impression, giving the coin a three-dimensional, almost holographic look. Double die coins are highly sought after, but what elevates the 1987 D quarter's value is the extremity and clarity of the doubling, which is unusually prominent and well preserved on this coin. Another astonishing error that compounds the coin's rarity is the presence of a major die crack running through the portrait of George Washington, the iconic figure on the quarter. Die cracks occur when the steel die used to strike the coin develops fissures due to repeated use, and when a coin is struck with such a cracked die, the raised metal flows into these cracks, leaving raised lines or cracks on the coin's surface. However, on this particular quarter, the die crack is extensive and runs vertically, bisecting Washington's profile in a way that is both dramatic and unique, almost resembling a lightning bolt, which adds to the coin's visual appeal and historical significance. What's more intriguing is that the die crack is not just a random defect but appears in a location that draws attention to the central figure on the coin, making it stand out far more than typical minor cracks found on other coins. Beyond the double die and die crack, the 1987 D quarter exhibits a third fascinating error, an off-center strike that causes part of the coin's design to be missing from one side. Off-center strikes occur when the planchet, the blank metal disc, is not properly centered in the coining press, resulting in a coin where the design is shifted and parts are either faint or absent. While off-center quarters are not unheard of, the degree of misalignment on this coin is substantial, causing the rim on one side to be completely absent and the date and lettering to appear truncated. This dramatic off-center strike further adds to the coin's uniqueness because it combines multiple error types on a single specimen, which is exceptionally rare. The presence of these combined errors, double die, major die crack, and severe off-center strike, makes the 1987 D quarter a triple threat in the world of error coins. But there's more to why this coin commands such a high price tag than just the errors alone. Condition plays a critical role in the valuation of coins, and the 1987 D quarter was found in a remarkably pristine state despite its defects. Normally, error coins can be damaged or worn since they often go unnoticed during circulation, but this particular coin was preserved with a near-perfect strike detail and minimal wear, allowing collectors to fully appreciate the errors without distraction. Grading experts have assigned it an extremely high grade on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70, where it scored near the top, a testament to its impeccable preservation. Moreover, the provenance or ownership history of the coin has further amplified its value. It was discovered by a seasoned coin collector in an obscure batch of quarters purchased from a local bank, making it a serendipitous find and adding to the narrative that collectors love, a rare treasure uncovered by chance. The coin has since passed through the hands of renowned numismatists and auction houses, each transaction elevating its profile and confirming its status as a centerpiece in the coin collecting world. Another factor contributing to the coin's extraordinary valuation is the increasing rarity of such era coins from that era. As decades have passed, many era coins have been lost, melted down, or simply discarded, making surviving specimens incredibly scarce. The 1987 D quarter, with its specific combination of errors, is essentially a one-of-a-kind artifact from the Denver Mint, representing a moment when the machinery faltered spectacularly, creating something both flawed and beautiful. This rarity drives demand from collectors who are willing to pay premium prices to own a piece of minting history that they can showcase, study, and hold as a symbol of the quirks of coin production. Beyond physical characteristics, the story of the 1987 D quarter taps into a broader fascination with the nature of value itself. Normally, a quarter is worth 25 cents, a common coin used daily without much thought. But when errors occur, especially those as dramatic as on this quarter, the coin becomes a tangible example of how rarity, uniqueness, and story imbue ordinary objects with extraordinary worth. This challenges our understanding of money and collectibles, illustrating that value is often tied not just to utility but to history, mystery, and the thrill of discovery. The $21 million price tag reflects not just the coin's physical features but also its symbolic weight as an icon of the numismatic hobby. Additionally, the 1987 D quarter has sparked discussions in academic and collecting circles about the minting process itself, prompting deeper investigations into how and why such errors occur. Experts analyze the steel dies, striking pressures, and quality control procedures to understand what led to this remarkable specimen. These studies enhance our appreciation for the craft of minting and the rare imperfections that can arise despite meticulous engineering. This coin is a tangible lesson in industrial processes and the unpredictability of mechanical production lines. Moreover, the coin's fame has inspired a surge of interest in era coins, with many collectors scouring circulation and coin rolls for their own extraordinary finds, hoping to uncover the next rare gem. This phenomenon has created a dynamic and vibrant market for era coins, with prices escalating for those with unique or multiple errors, mirroring the story of the 1987 D quarter. The ripple effect of this coin's discovery has brought fresh energy to the numismatic community and educated the public about the nuances of coin grading and error valuation. In conclusion, the 1987 D quarter from Denver is not just a coin but a symbol of rarity, error, and the unexpected value hidden within everyday objects. Its triple error combination, double die obverse, massive die crack, and severe off-center strike, combined with pristine condition, unique provenance, and increasing scarcity has catapulted its worth to an astonishing $21 million. This coin captivates collectors and enthusiasts worldwide, reminding us that beauty can be found in mistakes, and sometimes, what seems like an error can become a masterpiece worth millions. So, whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just someone intrigued by the mysteries of money, the story of the 1987 D quarter invites us all to look a little closer at the coins in our pockets, because you never know when you might be holding a priceless piece of history. Thanks for tuning in, and stay curious about the hidden treasures in the world around you.